I'm gonna be playing Dead Island 2's New Game Plus while being completely underleveled. This means that throughout most of the game, practically every enemy can instantly kill me. And yes, it's exactly as fun as it sounds.
No! Dang it.
There were moments in this challenge where I genuinely didn't know if I could keep going. So, keeping all that in mind, just how difficult will this actually be? Let's find out. Alright, for the most part it seems like you guys might want Amy. So what this means here is, level 30 recommended. We're gonna die a lot. So this is the character we played as, by the way, for the kick-only challenge. We went around doing this for the entire game. Okay, let's take a look at our skills. Why do we only have guns? Alright, wish me luck, everybody. We're gonna have a fire slobber, like, directly off the bat.
Rush.
That's a hellfire. I think he took like 3 damage from that. Yeah, look, he took no damage. Whoa! Okay, so we do have the dodge ability on right now. I'm very used to Dying Light. I'm trying to dodge out of the way with Dying Light controls. Huh? I don't even see how that hit me, to be honest with you. No, I guess we don't have to kill this guy, do we? You are entirely correct. We almost died to the fire. I died to the fire.
Yoink!
So the second I do this, we're going to spawn in so many zombies. Yep, there they are. Okay, it might be just easier for us to entirely evade all the zombies for a while. And we do actually have to kill that zombie. Oh, I died. We do actually have to kill that zombie, though. Well, I guess we do have skills. I didn't think we had skills yet. While I let the next 10 minutes play out of me trying and failing to kill this single zombie, let me catch you up on where we're at in the challenge. We're playing as Amy, who's mostly built for agility. She was perfect for the kicking only run, but for this specific challenge, she was the worst possible choice. Amy has the lowest toughness of any Slayer, which means she takes the most damage in the game. And on top of that, every zombie in this area is classified as deadly, which is the game's way of telling you to run away screaming as fast as you can. Normally you would leave, do some side quests, level up, and come back later. But what I quickly realized is that every zombie here is considered deadly. So for the next 25 hours of gameplay, this is me. But finally, after a ridiculous amount of punches and kicks, I managed to take out the zombie and get the keys to the front of the house. I run for my life through the next few houses, avoiding any and all damage as I pick up the first actual weapon of the challenge, and head to Emma's place. But before we get into that, my goal for the channel is to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of this year. Right now, about 80% of you watching aren't subscribed, which means we're actually a lot closer than you think. If we manage to hit the goal early, I'll take on a challenge so difficult it might actually take me months to finish. But alright, back to dying repeatedly. And we leveled up. If only that helped me at all. Don't worry guys, he's okay. We're gonna go out and save him. Okay, so the first thing we need to do here is to grab that, and then we'll come down here and turn on the electricity.
Should have closed your gate, guys.
They get everybody away. Oh, there is a runner in there. Oh god. No. So this creates an area for us where we can electrify them, kinda, if they could stand in it, please. There we go, some damage. That's actually tremendous amounts of damage for this playthrough. Oh, there's our first kill. Or no, our second kill. There we go.
Fantastic!
After powering through a bunch of dialogue and tutorials, our next big goal is to head to the Halperin Hotel. I tried my absolute best to do Curtis's side quests along the way, mostly hoping to grind enough XP to catch up on my levels. But let's just say that one-hit deaths pair poorly with small enclosed rooms. After dying repeatedly and not even getting close to finishing it, I decided to just push forward to the hotel. But this didn't quite go as I hoped it would either. The moment you step into this lobby area, zombies start spawning one after another. The first wave spawns about 10 or so of them, and once you clear enough of them, a bunch more will drop straight out of the vents above for some unknown reason. If you were about to comment that it would have been easier to lead them outside into the massive parking lot to kill them, then you would be absolutely dead wrong. Because if you leave the lobby even for a second, the fight resets, forcing you to deal with the new spawns on top of the ones that were already there. So basically, we just traded one tiny room for another. Luckily for me though, the lobby has a classic COD zombie style route where you can line them up in a train and pick them off one by one. But that still didn't stop me from dying. Honestly, the zombies themselves aren't what's getting me killed. Yeah, they're the ones smacking me and causing my health to go down, but the real thing responsible for my deaths, this fight and most others, is my own stupidity and screw-ups. That may seem obvious, but let me explain. Normally, the game gives you a ton of leniency because it takes about 5 or 6 hits to actually kill you. But when you're able to die in one single hit to every enemy or environmental hazard, every little thing that might not have been that important before instantly becomes a lethal mistake. In my case, if I was ever slightly out of position, got stuck on the terrain, my sprint canceled, or I simply overextended, I slowly kept adding to the death counter. In the end, I did eventually manage to beat this section with a handful of deaths in about an hour of gameplay, but this mission alone easily proved that this challenge was going to take a while. Wow, we did it! Chat, go ahead and do a victory screech. With the hard part now taken care of, we should be able to breeze through the rest of the hotel without much issue. No! Well, kind of. Alright, this is going to be terrible. Wish me luck, everybody. Yeah, I love that logo next to your name. That means you'll instant kill me, right? Yep, that's an instant kill right there. So, I think I need to remember my skills here. Let's get Flying Kick back on, as we'll put on Pain Magazine there. No Mercy, and this one, I believe. That's doing, like, no damage. The sad part is, I think that's the most damage that we can do to her right now. What's her health at right now? About 3/4. I need to do that about 47,000 more times, and then I'll win. I need to test out my kicking strategy again, because that was the ability that I used in my kicking video in order to beat the game. Even more zombies. This is where I want to get out my hammer, because it is probably better. So this is kind of just the name of the game right now. Oh! Nice backflip, bro. Ooh, that was close. That one almost got me killed. There we go.
Can you hear me?
GG's. You'd think I would have leveled up, though, from that fight. Surprisingly enough, I only died once to Becky before being able to move on. But right about now, I'm pretty desperate to get some levels. So from here on, I don't care how many times I die, I need to complete some side quests. I won't force you to sit through the next hour or so of me doing side quests, so let me speed you through the hell I went through to get to the next main mission objective. And what better place to start than the clickbait quest? In case you forgot which one this is, Amanda basically talks us into helping her make content for her TikTok or something. First, we need to launch some zombies off the roof, which was actually pretty easy this time around since I have access to the dropkick skill. Then came the maim objective, which was somehow much worse because of their huge resilience to my attacks. I ended up having to get the final blow with a takedown while using a sword to get the maims that the mission wanted me to get, and that took absolutely forever. But at least it was a reliable way to do it. After all that was done, all I had to do was burn a few zombies, which was by far the easiest part since I could just dropkick them straight into the fire. All in all, this quest took about 30 minutes and cost me another 5 or 6 deaths to complete, but it was more than worth it for the XP. After that, I made my way back to Curtis's mansion for round 2 at his quest. With a little more experience under my belt, this one was way more doable. I only ended up dying a single time, which honestly felt like a miracle when compared with the death parade that I faced earlier. With those 2 quests finished, I finally had enough XP to turn in our quest by talking to Emma and get a level up, giving me enough momentum to start pushing forward again and start our next journey to find Michael. I kill this crusher for the keys to move on to the next area, head to Michael's house, go to Ricky's house and save him from some zombies, rescue Michael's friend Jesse, and eventually follow all of it back to Emma's movie set. And if you're wondering what most of the deaths looked like up to this point after all that running around, this is what every single one of them looked like. What? Yeah, you're not missing much. But this next fight, let's just say that this one was a problem. This is, Hernandez. If you're one of my more observant friends, you've noticed this is our very first slobber-type enemy in the game. And he is an absolute bastard. I'll be upfront and honest with you when I say this, I was stuck on this fight for a long time. If you're not aware of what slobbers are, all you need to know is they are the worst creatures of all mankind. Hernandez will spit acid that leaves toxic puddles everywhere, blow up objects in the arena, summons 2 separate waves of zombies, and to top it all off, has somewhere in the ballpark of 20 billion HP. The very first thing he did was blow me up with this truck that he spat on. This was a pretty good clue as to how the rest of this fight was going to go. The fight starts out simple enough. Since it's a 1v1 at first, I mainly had to worry about his punches and close-range puke attacks, because his sludge attacks only happen when he's long range. I can block his normal attacks pretty well, so I'd usually run in and spam left-click while performing perfect blocks to do some continuous damage. This will eventually lead him into his next phase, where he'll spawn in the first wave of a bunch of zombies consisting of runners and walkers, all of which will instantly kill me if they lay one finger on me. This was where the fight frequently fell apart for me, because now Hernandez wasn't my only problem. I now had to try dodging a swarm of zombies while the boss sat in the back shooting acid at me. Sometimes he would lead his shot and force me to stop if I wanted to dodge it. Other times he'd shoot directly at me, to which I would die if I didn't keep moving. The problem came from me not being able to tell which one he was about to do, and every time that he fired, I had to just make a guess. And if I guessed wrong, I die. Simple as that. This particular attack of his probably killed me more than anything else in the entire fight. The other half the time, I was being killed by the hordes of zombies that he summons. If you somehow survive the first wave, he'll summon an even more difficult second wave that has stronger zombie types, firefighters, and incendiary walkers. All of this together leaves you with such a tiny margin for error that it's almost unheard of, at least for me, to fight for as long as I needed to without being hit a single time. This went on for 3 hours, and I probably died somewhere around 30 times. But finally, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. A feature hidden in the effects of one of my weapons that would change the rest of my playthrough. Meet Emma's Wrath. This is a weapon you get at the very end of the main story after killing Rubinator. It's not a weapon I usually care about, because by the time you get it, the game is already over. But in my specific circumstance, this was the best weapon I could possibly have asked for. The weapon itself doesn't really do much to the enemies. Even the special shockwave attack that you do when getting a perfect block on a zombie is underwhelming. But hidden inside it is the perk that saved this run:
Guardian.
When using this weapon, gain a moderate toughness boost. While holding Emma's Wrath in my hands, depending on the zombie attacking me, Amy's toughness stat gets boosted just enough to not get me instantly killed by the zombie. I knew right away that this was the exact thing I needed to push me over the edge to win my fight with Hernandez. It only took me a couple more tries from there, but finally I got him low enough to bring out Peggy and finish the mission. Oh my god, finally. The curse is over. I can't believe we did that as well with the terrible build we had. This kicking build we have is like worthless. But we do have a side quest again, thank goodness. We've needed this extra side quest for a long time. I am going to go out of my way at some point to find more ammo for Peggy here, because Peggy was the only reason we beat this boss. Okay, let's get their attention by throwing, I don't know, this, I guess. May as well throw it here. And then I'm going to just lead them through this acid. And I'm going to turn it back on over here. And we got a new survivor card. Naturally, after fighting and finally vanquishing Hernandez, the game immediately decided that I hadn't suffered enough yet, because directly after this section of getting through these gates, we're thrown into another boss fight that exploits one of my biggest weaknesses: large hordes of zombies. Meet Nikki, our very first screamer of the challenge. Screamers are their own special type of difficulty in a playthrough like this, because they can basically summon every single zombie within a 5-mile radius to the fight. As you can probably imagine, this isn't exactly ideal to our current situation. Sure, Hernandez could summon a couple waves in his fight, but Nikki is able to summon endless amounts. From my experience, no matter how many you take out, they'll just keep coming until you kill the source of the noise. My first attempt actually gave me a little bit of confidence. I mean, just look at how close I got to taking her down. I thought, okay, maybe if I attack extra carefully and maintain distance, I'll be able to do this. But no. Even with my new strategy with Emma's Wrath and utilizing the Guardian perk, the damage they could do at once was simply too much since they often attacked back to back or even at the same time as one another. To make things worse, every zombie was almost constantly under the frenzied status effect that makes them more dangerous. Once again, I found myself repeatedly butting my head against the wall that is this fight, and after having just finished my terrible time with Hernandez, I was definitely ready for a change of scenery. So after dying about 30 more times or so, I finally decided to admit defeat. Not because I thought the fight was impossible, but because I wasn't making any progress. So I decided it was time for another training arc, by doing some side quests and getting some XP. I originally thought about jumping into the Sola DLC, but quickly remembered that Sola is an actual nightmare thanks to this thing, and even more so, this thing. Yeah, no thanks. I'll save that trauma for another time. Instead, I found this envelope outside Emma's place, leading to the House DLC. From what I can remember about this set of side quests, it's basically Dead Island 2's creepy cult storyline, and somehow, that still sounded significantly less painful than having to deal with the Whipper or the Dredge. So, off I went. After being knocked unconscious, I find myself in front of this giant house estate thing, with an absolutely gorgeous backdrop. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. I have absolutely no idea what the story is for this DLC. But the very first thing of note that we need to do is run around finishing rituals to prove myself or something. Oh! The first one had me proving myself by throwing one of my weapons into the fire and deleting it forever. I've gotten pretty attached to my current arsenal of weapons, so this hurt me more than some of the zombies did. Then I had to electrify myself to prove I can endure agony. Apparently one time wasn't enough, so I had to go in a second time after that. And finally I had to tell a secret. Somehow I think agony is the more extreme of those two things, and it should probably go last, but hey, who am I to decide? Okay, a secret. I laugh at my own jokes. Quite a bit. With these rituals complete, I finally received my membership card and am allowed access to the rest of the estate. This is the part of the DLC where the missions basically become a scavenger hunt, where I have to track down and find these gross heads to put on these bodies, I guess? Like I said, I genuinely have no clue. The first head was the simplest to find, simply sitting inside this office room hidden deep within a labyrinth with pools and a pitfall for some reason. Then I had to walk it back all the way to the throne room through seemingly endless amounts of zombies. If they blocked my path, I had to put the head down and kill them since they easily get in your way. That alone was the cause of several of my deaths. But that wasn't the worst part. Eventually, all of these objectives led me to the first real boss of the DLC in search of another head. Introducing Piglet. But long. Compared to my fights from earlier, Hernandez and Nikki, this one wasn't supposed to be as difficult. But it was. I mean, don't get me wrong, this was way better than the previous boss fights, but it was painful in its own way. Just like before, we're not only worrying about one big bad boss. If the Slobber had waves of zombies that were limited in number, and the Screamer fight had infinite waves that depended on Nikki screaming to summon them, this one spawned more on what seemed to be a timer. Every minute or so, it would shoot meat out of these cannon things on the roof, and they would come popping up out of the ground. The extra zombies were by far the most annoying part of this fight. Not only because they killed me repeatedly, but also because I knew that if they weren't here, this would probably go about as well as the fight with Becky did. But finally, after about an hour and a half of throwing myself at this fight and a complete overhaul of my skills to focus on obtaining Autophage 3, I got Piglet's HP down low enough to warrant pulling out Peggy and finishing him off once and for all. Piglet was finally dealt with, which meant I could finally grab the head I needed along with the boss's personal butcher's knife and finish up this section of house while walking away with a whole lot more XP from it. Turns out, abandoning the main story temporarily wasn't all that bad of an idea after all, because with these new levels and weapons under my belt, it was now time to head back and see if what we gained was enough to take out Nikki.